to come back to that issue of what is photographed and how it's photographed. But first of all, MaryAnne has been sitting on a comment for the last
No, I just wanted to ask a question. If you think perhaps that the ghetto-isation, if you will, of photojournalism might not also have something to do with something that came up in this year's jury when I was at the World Class and Stephen was there, which was a discussion about how photojournalism only covers 10% of the world, that 90% of the world it totally avoids, and that's including war photography. It's one of the key styles of photography and photojournalism, the key style of photojournalism that usually launches careers of then later famous photojournalists, when there is a whole world out there that photojournalism is not choosing to look at. I just wanted to see if you agreed or...
I totally agree. It's really funny because I said I saw something the other day, and there's an experiment I was talking to them about images and how almost images are expected by an audience. There are again these things that we expect to see in the press, and almost like it's like a pact between the photographers and the viewers and the editors to produce those pictures. And so what we did was I went into a popular photo agency and I put in the word barbed wire, because I said photographers were always shooting through pictures of barbed wire, and there were 45 pages of images with barbed wire involved. And then I put in the word bank, Africa and banks, and it was like 5 pages. It was just hardly anything compared, and it was just this. It was Africa and barbed wire and Africa and banks. 45 pages and 5 pages. And for me, that speaks volumes of what you're saying. But I also, and it was interesting because yesterday I got the New York Times, which I always read a day late, and I was reading it today, and there was a picture. I recognized one of the pictures, and I thought, oh wow, and I recognized it was a picture of a place that I had been 2 years ago, and it was in a mortar pit. Fine, it's a war picture, and by a very good photographer. And I'm giving this point not to critique his photography, which I think is great, but to critique the kind of way the pictures are chosen. And the picture really didn't tell us anything about Afghanistan. It was about Afghanistan. It basically said the picture was like, there's war in Afghanistan, there's somebody fighting in water. You didn't get any other dimensions to what was happening there at all. You gave no other visual information. And the same goes for people war photography in the press, especially in newspapers or magazines, often demands certain things. They're cliches that which came up in the discussion of world press when you were chair, which was kind of like, let's have the wailing women from Gaza, let's have kind of the shots with the barbed wire, let's have whatever it is. And then I was thinking about it, and those kind of that visual language that is demanded by the viewer, because someone's reading through a newspaper so quickly, it's kind of funny that it's like there's a war in Afghanistan, or women are upset in Gaza. But then I was thinking, maybe photographs in newspapers are like kind of traffic lights. It's like when you go to a traffic light, it's just red, amber, or green. There's no kind of purple. You don't ask for anything else. But without traffic lights, there would be absolute chaos in the streets. So in some ways, newspapers maybe just provide a very, very simple function. They're like, okay, the war in Afghanistan is still going on. In terms of visual. And maybe that isn't the context from which to have a more interrogation of the issue.